Hello, puppies and kittens. Welcome to another episode of Reading Joseph Smith. And right away, I've already got an opening comment here. The Raven 200 says, I tried feeding a quarter into the Zoltar machine. It didn't work. And I don't know how to ask. Gonna go for it a question. Oh, wait, never mind.
Now, if you want the Zoltar machine to work, you got to unplug it first.
Indeed. So, before anybody asks, this is Durango. This is my bull snake. I just came back from another reptile convention, and I have another bull snake.
Of course you do.
Pretty.
Yeah. And the father of the new bull snake, or the mother of the new bull snake, is 8 feet long. So we're expecting that to be a bigger bull snake than poor little 2-year-old Durango here.
I asked a question last week that broke your thing and you never answered it. How many snakes do you have now? If you freeze, I'm doing this every week when people irritate me.
Who really knows anymore? I know it's upwards of 60.
Okay.
Is it an odd number or an even number?
I really estimated then because I told somebody it was like 40 something.
Yeah, it's 64, 66, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to do another inventory. And also, before anybody else asks, that's what I'm drinking today.
Excellent.
Oh, dragon ladies.
All right, so Bryce.
Yes. What did I do?
Okay, I just want to make sure you weren't muted.
Oh, yeah.
What should you tell us anything about this chapter before we dive into it?
Does anything
boom.
interesting happen this chapter? I don't have any.
Yeah, this is the epistle of Moroni to Amaran. And his epistle back to him, and this is some heavy shit.
All right. Yeah, I don't remember this stuff well enough, so I defer to Gazalem and to Shannon, who know the story better than me.
This is when they're negotiating the exchange of prisoners.
Which reminds me, we have Ember here today. Ember, I want you to read this first chapter. I want to hear the God voice.
All right, I can arrange that. Let me make sure my thingy's turned on.
So Moroni is God.
Since I'm
Ember
home
wants
today.
to make sure his thingy's turned on. Well, you're going to have to find someone else to assist you with that, sir.
Fair enough.
Chapter 54.
Yeah, we got.
And now,
so here we go.
it came to pass. In the commencement of the 29th year of the judges, that Amaran sent unto Moroni, desiring that he would exchange prisoners. And it came to pass that Moroni felt to rejoice exceedingly at this request, for he desired the provisions which were imparted for the support of the Lamanite prisoners, for the support of his own people, and he also desired his own people for the strengthening of his army.
Let me just
now
here for a moment to say, for he desired. Wait. Moroni felt to rejoice. He felt to rejoice exceedingly. Did anybody talk like that in the 19th century?
No. This is once again Joseph trying to sound educated and having no fucking concept how.
Exactly.
Biblical.
Because, he's got words. He's got the best words.
Yeah.
The holiest words.
Do continue, please, sir.
Now the Lamanites had taken many women and children, and there was not a woman nor a child among all the prisoners of Moroni, or the prisoners whom Moroni had taken. Therefore, Moroni resolved upon a stratagem to obtain as many prisoners of the Nephites from the Lamanites as it were possible. Therefore...
Now, wait, hang on. This is one where Mormons really hold this up going, see, look, the Lamanites are really super bad because they didn't just take soldiers, they took women and children too. The Nephites are better because they only took the soldiers. And it's like, okay,
Sound
whatever.
familiar?
And so that's one of those things that this is held up because, they're going to forget everything Captain Moroni already did. Forget the fact that he was willing to slaughter his own people for not agreeing with them and doing everything he fucking said. But, because he didn't take women and children as prisoners, he's better. So
The
just remember
thing
that.
that's scary is these apocalypto people see this as like prophecy and shit. Fundamentalists are going to read this stuff and think what's going on contemporarily in modern times right now is reflected on what's going on right here.
Hmm.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
The damn effect always lags. Therefore, he wrote an epistle and sent it by the servant of Amoron, the same who had brought an
Sent
epistle.
it by the servant of a moron. I'm sorry. I couldn't let that go.
Well, just wait.
Passenger pigeons.
Wait till we get to the Book of Ether because there is a moron in there. He is named Moron, Moron. So that's coming.
I wish you hadn't prepped me for that.
My job is spoilers.
You'll forget.
Matt White tells us that every time I'm on.
Yeah.
Here's Shannon to give the spoilers. Bryce, don't do that. Stay in your lane. This is Shannon's lane.
Okay.
The servant of Amoron, the same who had brought an epistle to Moroni. Now these are the words which he wrote unto Amoron, saying, Behold, Amoron,
Behold.
I have written
Behold,
unto
Amoron.
you.
Behold, Moron.
I have written unto you somewhat concerning this war which ye have waged against my people, or rather, which thy brother hath waged against them, and which ye are still determined to carry on after his death. Behold, I would tell you somewhat concerning the justice of God, and the sword of his almighty wrath, which doth hang over you, except ye repent and withdraw your armies into your own lands, or the land of your possessions, which is the land of Nephi. Yea, I would tell you these things if ye were capable of hearkening unto them. Yea, I would tell you concerning that awful hell that awaits to receive such murderers as thou and thy brother have been, except ye repent and withdraw your murderous purposes, and return with your armies to your own lands. But as ye have once rejected these things, and have fought against the people of the Lord, even so I may expect you will do it again. And now, behold, we are prepared to receive you. Yea, and except you withdraw your purposes, behold, ye will pull down the wrath of that God, whom you have rejected, upon you, even to your utter destruction. But as the Lord liveth, our armies shall come upon you, except ye withdraw, and ye shall soon be visited with death. For we will retain our cities and our lands, yea, and we will maintain our religion and the cause of our God. But behold, it supposeth me that I talk to you concerning these things in vain. Or it supposeth me that thou art a child of hell.
Yeah.
Children of the damned.
Therefore, I will close my epistle by telling you that I will not exchange prisoners, save it be on conditions that ye will deliver up a man and his wife and his children for one prisoner. If this be the case, that
Good
ye
deal,
will do
Moroni.
it. I will exchange.
Stop
And-
interrupting the God voice.
And behold, if ye do not this, I will come against you with my armies. Yeah, even will I arm.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Even I will arm my women and my children, and I will come against you. I will follow you even into your own land, which is the land of our first inheritance. Yea, and it shall be blood for blood. Yea, life for life. And I will give you battle even until you are destroyed from off of the face of the earth.
Valhalla's
Behold.
calling me. Whoa. Sorry, you just put that song in my head.
Behold, I am in my anger, and also my people. Ye have sought to murder us, and we have only sought to defend ourselves. But behold, if ye seek to destroy us more, we will seek to destroy you. Yea, and we will seek our land, the land of our first inheritance. Now I close my epistle. I am Moroni. I am the leader of the people of the Nephites.
Okay, stop there for a second.
Yeah, be careful when you close your epistle that you don't get the zipper stuck in a sensitive area.
It's not
Of course,
really
you
close.
see him closing it as a leader of the people of the Nephites, which he's really just a leader of the army, but he sees himself higher than that. But here's the thing. I mean, obviously, he has no concept of how to negotiate. Because if you're going to try to negotiate with your enemy, you don't do it by insulting them right and left. You know, you are a child of hell, that kind of shit. Okay. But this, to Mormons, that's not a big deal. They see it as this is okay because this church was started by Joseph Smith, who had no problem telling 14-year-old girls, oh, guess what? You're required to marry me, or you and all of your family for the rest of all generations will be damned forever. And there's an angel with a burning sword hanging over me that's going to kill me if you don't, you know, and that kind of shit. He was very
Save
much
me.
like that, so much like what Moroni is doing here.
Is that a successful pickup line?
It was then, apparently. Bryce,
Called the new. It's called the
You
new
know
and
best.
everlasting covenant.
you know best on that one. So
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not just Joseph Smith, right? It's a whole lot of religious cult leaders. They have, you know, their unique
That's true.
spin on the same idea that, oh, I have to marry these little teenage girls because God commanded me to do it. That was just Joseph Smith's unique spin on the idea.
yeah, Warren Jeffs is just as much like Joseph Smith. Yeah.
When you include, okay, you have to marry all these teenage girls. Oh, and have everyone in the community give me 10% of their income so that I end up living in the best house, and I need no qualifications to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone will give me political power, financial power, and their children.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, what a
well,
good
back-
gig.
Well,
Well, and
back then it was everything. It was your property and everything.
It
It
still
wasn't
is.
10%.
It still
Yeah,
is.
for quite a
everything.
lot of
Well-
people, there's cults in operation right now where the pastor owns all the property of everybody in his congregation.
Yeah.
That's how it was in the old days with Mormonism.
And
There-
there's a,
I
there's a
have
lot
to
of
read a-
split offs like that. Yeah.
I have to read a comment from the chat. It's not one that was selected. It's just one that gave me the giggles. Fred Harvey says, now, why do I get the feeling that these people do not take this book seriously?
I can't imagine what would give you such an impression. I assure you, we are here for scholarship.
I mean, this is actual prophecy going on. This is word for word. This is Netanyahu right here.
All right. Do continue, God voice.
All right.
Now it came to pass that Amoron, when he had received this epistle, was angry, and he wrote another epistle unto Moroni, and these are the words which he wrote, saying, I am a moron. the king of the Lamanites.
Am a moron.
Is there another character in this book named an idiot?
Yes.
Yes, literally, yes.
I already said that earlier. It's coming in ether.
I don't know about the idiot rights.
My mother believes this religion. She told me if I wanted to get the faith, I needed to read the Book of Mormon. Do continue, please.
I am the brother of Amalekah, whom ye have murdered.
Amalekah.
Can't let it pass.
Poor Shannon,
Behold.
she's like squirming.
Behold, I will avenge his blood upon you. Yea, and I will come upon you with my armies. Ooh, that's a lot of come.
You're going to come upon me with your armies. Okay.
I didn't realize they were into that kind of thing. For I fear not your threatenings. For behold, your fathers did wrong their brethren insomuch that they did rob them of their right to the government when it rightly belonged unto them.
Which,
and now...
Wait. Which it is actually a legitimate complaint, because generally it's the oldest son who would take over after, the father dies. It would be the oldest son in charge. And there's 3 sons that were born before Nephi was. And so for him to take over, that's, Laman or Lemuel or Sam deserved it before Nephi did, according to, what is it? What's it called? That's not primogeniture.
Patriarchal order.
It's something.
Patrilineal.
Thank you. I was trying to think of what the P word was. So, but yeah, so it is a legitimate complaint there.
Well, and really quickly, is this a moron taking aim at Moroni for the upsetting of the government and changing it from that patrilineal reign into a reign of judges? Right? Because is that the incident that he's referring to, or is he referring to all the way back with Lehi's family and Nephi ascending to the kingship instead of Laman or Lemuel or Sam? I'm not sure which one he's referring to.
Generally, it is considered that it goes back to Nephi taking over after Lehi. Because that's, when they start being called the Nephites and the Lamanites, they don't separate them out into the other ites, and all that shit. And so it can be interpreted other ways, but Mormons in general take it as Nephi and Laman.
Interesting.
Somebody please seize a scene out of this. Just clip the part where Ember says, "Behold, I am a moron." I just want that clip.
It shall live on as a short forever.
There you go.
Yes.
Behold.
And now, behold, if ye will lay down your arms and subject yourselves to be governed by those to whom the government doth rightly belong, then I will cause that my people shall lay down their weapons, and shall be at war no more. Behold, ye have breathed out... Behold! Ye have breathed out many threatenings against me and my people. But behold, we fear not your threatenings. Nevertheless, I will grant to exchange prisoners according to your request, gladly, that I may preserve my food for my men of war, and we will wage a war which shall be eternal, either to the subjecting of the Nephites to our authority, or to their eternal extinction.
Really quick point that I want to make here. This is known as like the war chapters of the Book of Mormon. We're actually we're coming to the end of what's known as like the war chapters here.
I was going to say, there's been an awful lot of that already.
Yeah. This is the very first time we've had any allusion to or any even mention of the challenges of logistics of supplying soldiers and armies for months or years on end, as they have been doing. This is the first time that that one of these military leaders is like, hey, we don't have enough food to support the prisoners, so we're going to give them up. Like the concept of food and having to supply armies never occurred to the author of this book until we are well over halfway through it.
Right. Bryce, who was helping him then, and when was this being written?
Translated.
Translated.
Sorry, the Mormonism is coming through on me.
This was about halfway through the translation or the authorship process when they were writing this. So this would have been like mid-June of 1829. And this was probably John Whitmer that is helping or is doing the scribe right now. Although I can't confirm that right now.
What would have brought that to their attention that you have to have food for your armies?
Logistics.
I don't know. That's such a weird thing, and it also, it also could have been the case that this may have they may have been writing this as Joseph was starving for food when they were on the Harmony farm where he was riding with Oliver Cowdery, and then they packed up shop and headed to the Whitmer farm to finish the authorship of the book. So this might have happened during that transitory phase.
Okay.
And then there was that point.
Yeah.
When just about the time they were realizing that food was a necessity, that was the time when they decided to eat Robin's minstrels.
Got it. So, because it would make sense that whatever's going on in their life is what would come and be reflected into this. So
yeah, that does make sense. So yeah, that's possible, entirely possible.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Onwards.
Okay. And as concerning that God whom ye say we have rejected, behold, we know not such a being, neither do ye. But if it is so, be that there is such a being, we know not, but that he hath made us as well as you.
Which is a great answer.
Right?
That is a perfect answer.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And
he ain't no Amoran. Ain't no moron.
And if it so be that there is a devil and a hell, behold, will he not send you there to dwell with my brother, whom ye have murdered, whom ye have hinted that he hath gone to such a place? But behold, these things matter not. Behold, behold. I am a moron, and a descendant of Zoram, whom your fathers pressed and brought out of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And behold now, I am a bold Lamanite. Behold, this war hath been waged to avenge their wrongs, and to maintain, and to obtain their rights to the government. And I close my epistle to Moroni.
Wow.
It's funny because those arguments of his about God are held up as specious arguments by Mormons, but yet it is actually a really legitimate thing to say is, we don't know this God you're talking about, but guess what? If he created you, then he created us too. So therefore,
And also you keep telling us that that Amalekia went to hell. Prove it, bitches.
Yeah.
that's what we just read out of there. Like, if you can't prove it, then what is it? Behold, these things matter not. Mattereth not. No, matter or not.
I wouldn't have expected
behold, thou doth for ye doth.
I wouldn't have expected any religious tome to have anything equivalent to pictures or it didn't happen.
Right. And this did, and it's supposed to be the bad guy saying it, of course, because that's what happens. The supposed good guys never ever say anything like this. And what's interesting too is if you really look at it, the death of Amalickiah and how it was done by Teancum sneaking in and javelining him and everything else, instead of doing it in a fair fight, would be considered murder. So I'm like, they're right in everything that they say. So
that is one interesting thing about this book as we're going through it, that out of all the holy texts I've ever read, the bad guys in here are surprisingly logical.
Yes, extremely so.
Yeah.
That's why Joe wanted to label him as a moron. He's the smart guy.
Well, remember, the word moron was invented after this book was written, and possibly because this book was written.
There you go.
I've got a comment from Minute Rice, who offers $5 and says, "Could we get Amber to recite the line from Godzilla? Nature has an order, a power to restore balance. He is that power. Let them fight."
So now Amber
Oh,
gets to do
I
it.
suppose. Yep. Let me turn my thing on.
I did my best.
Sounded good.
Nature has an order, a power to restore balance. He is that power.
Oh,
Let
no, more
them
slowly.
fight.
Amber, you need to do those the voiceovers for like movie previews.
Oh yeah, that's
In a world
yeah.
where a bunch of ex-Mormons get together to read a book.
Get copyright strikes for that kind of stuff.
All right, so I don't know where to go from here. We are moving on to Alma 55, and I am so wanting to try to compete with Ember, but I also have Shannon here.
Yes, you do.
Yes, so I think I will step back and allow Shannon to take over.
So you want grandma? Huh?
Grandma!
My,
So I'm
my
like,
country grandma, everybody.
though somebody in the chat was calling me cosplaying Voldemort, which I'm like, what? Thank you. No. God. Just
Hey,
because
you
my
have a
head's
nose.
bald, I have a nose, and I don't like have weird fingers going everywhere. Yes, and I don't have flowy robes.
You remind me of Sinead O'Connor or the lady on Star Trek, the original
I'd rather be
series.
reminding people of Sinead O'Connor than Voldemort. Thank you very much. All right. Now,
Go, just
bring-
bear in mind, Shannon, nothing compares to you.
right. Nothing ever can. I am an original. All right, here we go. Now it came to pass that when Moroni had received this epistle, he was more angry because he knew that Amaron had a perfect knowledge of his fraud. Yeah, he
Whoa.
knew
Yay.
that Amaron knew that it was not a just cause that had caused him to wage a war against the people of Nephi. And he said, "Behold, I will not exchange prisoners with Amaron, save he will withdraw his purpose, as I have stated in my epistle, for I will not grant unto him that he shall have any more power than what he hath got. Behold, I know the place where the Lamanites do guard my people, whom they have taken prisoners. And as Amaron would not grant unto me mine epistle, behold, I will give unto him
Behold.
according to my words. Yeah, I will seek
Yay.
death among them until they shall sue for peace." Hi, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Hi.
Hey, Jimmy.
I have never met you.
Welcome.
Jimmy,
Who the hell are you?
He's this
Oh,
Jehovah
look at
Witness.
Jimmy, looking all dapper.
I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness from Nevada, so I live next door to the Mormons, so that makes me an
Scary.
expert on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Know
I'm
thy
a
neighbor.
Shannon. I'm an ex-Mormon.
All right.
Have we
All
met
right.
Eric?
I've never
No,
met
Ryan, I
Eric.
don't think so.
No.
My YouTube channel is called Skeptics and Scoundrels. I've sent in some super chats here and there, so
Okay.
that's the only
think-
communication you
Yep,
and I
causing
have had
trouble.
together. Yeah.
Oh,
Which
Eric's
is
a
weird
rad
because
lord, sir.
both of you do hosting on the line, sometime with Jimmy, sometimes with other people.
Yes.
No, I haven't.
It's strange that you haven't interacted directly before.
I've never done that on the line.
That is kind of strange because I've heard of his show.
Yep.
It is
I've heard
kinda
of your
strange.
show
We've never
though.
met before.
Yeah. And
I-
Jimmy, I have a couple of notes now that you're here. First of all, I heard you talking about me. I appreciate that. Infinite Chaos. That guy, ice cream apologists are fun. If there were something outside of time and space, without time it can't change, so it would be infinite order, not infinite chaos. But as to your real question about ice cream in space, I do have an answer for that. Ice cream itself doesn't have a flavor per se. They have to add the vanilla base and then add other flavors to that. And we do know about a raspberry-flavored nebula. It's called Molecular Cloud B2. It's something like 300 light years towards the galactic core. And it tastes like raspberries. It's got...
I know about the Raspberry Nebula, but this
Okay.
doesn't satisfy the is it conceivable? So to what he is referring, let me make sure that I have my effects on so you're not getting background noise because my headphones apparently just don't work now. But for those wondering, to what he is referring is my question for an astrophysicist would be, is the universe so massive, therefore so many possibilities become probable, that it is likely that ice cream has arisen in parts of the universes completely spontaneously without biological influence? Like, is there somewhere in the universe that we would find something we recognize as essentially ice cream that arose from just chemical processes with no biological influence?
It seems likely. I mean, we've got alcohol in space, and that's basically half of a glucose. So between that and
Hey.
all the various amino acids that can arise, getting together the
Oh,
proteins
God.
necessary for milk doesn't seem unreasonable.
Now, forgive me. Cosmology gets a little beyond me. You mentioned something about the strawberry nebula. I mean, just and that it tastes like strawberry. So, what does the schnozberry nebula taste like?
Hmm.
Snozberries taste like snozberries. This is basic science. The fuck is wrong with you?
All right, do continue, please.
All righty. Okay. And now it came to pass that when Moroni had said these words, he caused that a search should be made among his men, that perhaps he might find a man who was a descendant of Laman among them. And it came to pass that they found one whose name was Laman.
What?
Figure.
What? Who could
And
imagine?
Of course, his name Laman, because Joseph is tired of making up names. And he
Lame.
was one of the servants of the king who was murdered by Amalickiah. Now Moroni caused that Laman and a small number of his men should go forth unto the guards who were over the Nephites. Now the Nephites were guarded in the city of Gid. Therefore Moroni appointed Laman and caused that a small number of men should go with him. Because, he just said that, so why not say it again? All right.
Yeah.
And when it was evening, Laman went to the guards who were over the Nephites, and behold, they saw him coming.
Oh, hey, there was an and came to pass you missed.
Well, they
That was-
took it out,
that was
so I
edited
didn't
out.
miss it.
Yeah.
I didn't miss
Yep,
anything in my
no.
version. Yes, we know. And he,
We're
but he
taking,
said-
hey, we're taking count, so I'm just playing my part, keeping up on my responsibilities here.
but he saith unto them, Fear not, behold, I am a Lamanite. Behold, we have escaped from the Nephites, and they sleep. And behold, we have taken of their wine and brought it with us.
Oh, the
Now,
wine trick.
The wine trick. This
Worked
is such
once.
a famous Mormon thing, and it happens 27 times in the Book of Mormon. All right. Now, when the Lamanites had heard these words, they received him with joy. And they said unto him, Give us of your wine, that we may drink. We are glad that ye have thus taken wine with you, for we are weary. Of course, wine doesn't make us more tired, do? Of course not.
Nope.
Now, Mormons love this because, word of wisdom, which is really super funny because word of wisdom wasn't a commandment until Heber J. Grant in the 1900s. It wasn't a commandment then. But Joseph liked to get drunk all the fucking time. His father was an alcoholic. But Mormons hold this up going, see, wine is bad. Oh, God.
He liked to smoke cigars too.
But Laman said unto them, Let us keep of our wine till we go against the Nephites to battle, because, it's better to fight them drunk, right? But this saying
Absolutely.
only made them more desirous to drink of the wine because, reverse psychology. For, said they, we are weary. Therefore, let us take of the wine, and by we shall receive wine for our rations, which will strengthen us to go against the Nephites.
I want to
Liquid
point
courage.
I want to point out one maybe logistical constraint. We're talking about this guy that Moroni found who was a Lamanite named Laman and gave him command of a small little, platoon of
Strike
soldiers?
force.
Yeah, strike force. How the fuck are they carrying all the wine that's going to satisfy literal armies? Are they like walking through with barrels like, hey, we escaped from the Nephites, guys? Want some
And
wine? It's fucking
how many of
insane.
them look like Lamanites? Because they have to for this to
Right.
work. But he doesn't say that. He says that just a small group of Nephites go with them. So a bunch of white
Maybe
guys
they're
with
leading
one
a herd
dark
of
guy.
tapirs.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And also,
No,
no concern for dialectical differences? Like
None of that.
you can hear somebody when they're trying to impersonate an accent, when you can tell it's not an authentic accent. No problems with dialectic differences between these. Nothing. Okay, we don't care about language. All right.
Haven't you
You
guys
can
watched
tell when
About
you
language?
can't do a good impression, but don't speak for everybody.
Haven't you
Remember
watched
to use the right-
Ancient Aliens, where they used the anti-gravity technology? That's how they built the pyramids and shit too.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, and the sonic levitation by soundwave thing.
Mhm.
Frankly, when I do an impression, everyone thinks it's exactly the guy that the voice is very raw, very accurate, very good.
That
And
was
who
an
are you
amazing
again?
Stewie, Jimmy.
Shut the fuck up. You're fired. I'm leaving. By the way, Stewie Griffin is up here. That's a totally different part of the film. So you can go fuck yourself.
All right. Oh, never mind.
was
Now
that?
onwards. Okay.
That
What
that
was it?
was
If you
about
ever make a noise
10,000
like-
people screaming, "Go fuck yourself."
If you ever make a noise like that again, say excuse me.
Wait, what was it? I missed it.
Wait,
10,000 people
you wanna see it
saying,
again?
"Go fuck yourself."
Can I hear it? Oh, that's
There we
tight.
go.
Yeah.
Now, I fear we may not be showing this book the reverence it deserves.
Or the reader of it, for that matter.
I think we are showing it the exact amount it deserves.
Yeah, I love it.
This is I'll be honest, this is literally my first time reading this Book of Mormon. I'm very intrigued by the
I wish you were
potential.
here.
Yeah.
It's
I wish you would-
fascinating.
I
I'm
wish
very
you
intrigued
were
by
here
this.
moments ago when Ember had to read the line. I'm not kidding. This line was in the book just moments ago. Behold, I am a moron.
I just want to know.
Behold, I am a moron, king of the Lamanites.
One of the more I'm trying to remember who it was. Bryce, who was it in Joseph's inner circle in the leadership who thought Joseph might be gay?
I don't know.
There was somebody who had accused him of not caring that some gay stuff was happening and had implied that maybe it was because he was banging somebody's husband or something too. I'm trying to remember who it was. But anyway, neither here nor there. I just want to be in on the, like, when he was giving his evidence. I don't know. He was like, and then this gay thing happened. He didn't care. And by the way, it's called More Men. No one's noticing it's called More Men. Not one person. Super gay.
I think Eric
Michael
said that.
Quinn's Same-Sex Dynamics by Michael Quinn. They might find it there.
I
Okay.
got the
No,
same
the
thing
night
with
before he
Jesus.
died.
I've heard all these rumors about whether Jesus was gay. I mean, there's the thing about, the only thing he let
Oh,
the
he
woman
totally
do
was.
the only thing he let the woman do was wash his feet and lube his fist. Am I reading that right?
Look, man, here's
I'm-
what I know.
I'm still stuck on the Gospel of John, where it keeps talking about the disciple who was the only one Jesus loved. Giggity, giggity.
Here's what I know. If you go into those forums of how to get laid with the pickup artist, one of the things you do is neg someone by just giving them a nickname, making them feel reliant on it. And this is a guy who walked up and was like, "Oh, Peter, huh? I'm going to call you Simon." So
Whoa.
All
You
right,
look like
I
a
gotta-
Thaddeus to me.
I got to read another comment that I just saw. Somebody, Reed S, says, I love Aaron's laugh. He has a cackle like Ozzy Osbourne. Every time Jimmy tells a successful joke, I feel like Crazy Train is going to start playing.
so like 1 in 5 jokes that I make. Also, I think I said that backwards. It would have been Simon, I'm going to call you Peter, not Peter, I'm going to call you Simon. But it
Yeah,
sounds funnier
details,
the,
though.
the Simon way.
It's all about The Rock.
I start feeling offended.
Yeah.
All
Speaking of offended,
aboard.
where are all of the super chats? We're coming up dry on the comments that Aaron
They're
has
all-
to stop
yeah.
the show and for us to read and talk about for 20 minutes. And
That-
we're
that
getting
is
through way
interesting.
too much of this book right now. So hey, chat, answer the call, yo. Where's everybody at tonight?
I do want to point out, though, your name is Peter, and you're saying you're offended. This is not the first time someone's done something mean with your name. Your name is Peter.
The thing
My
is,
name is John Thomas, and no
the
one's ever
thing
made
is,
fun of me.
in the Netherlands, that's not a joke. It doesn't work like that in the Netherlands, just in America.
I will bring it to the Netherlands.
Peter Pumpkin Eater.
I'm booking a flight right now. I will.
Here we make fun of guys having a Jimmy.
I was just thinking,
right. Europeans do like Jimmy as a joke.
Jimmy just threatened to book a flight to the Netherlands. Oh, how I would wish that Jimmy and I could both be in Amsterdam at the same time. That would.
It's been a while since you did a European tour, Aaron. It may be time to have that.
It has.
It's an empty threat, as I rarely fulfill my commitments to go to the end of the street.
I was going to say, you don't fulfill most of your commitments, do you?
I don't know to what you are referring. Talking about this awesome company I'm running, because it's going great. But if you mean covenants, you're correct.
All right.
So another line that happened, Eric, before you got here, was when a moron, literally a moron, said, "For I am a moron, and I will come upon you with my army."
With the whole army?
The whole army.
God, do they take turns, or is it all at once?
And all at once.
Because there might be like risk of drowning if it's all at once.
And he's the brother of
That's what caused the Great Flood.
Oh my God. This raises so many questions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel reverent enough.
Oh my God.
Shannon, please
All right.
please get the show
Go
back
on now.
track.
All right.
Save us.
Yes. Deliver us. All right. And Laman said unto them, "You may do according to your desires."
Oh my.
And it came to pass.
Oh no, Shannon, just do that one more time.
Yeah, we need to clip that.
We're getting all kinds of clips out of this show.
That's for OnlyFans only.
Really put some passion into that line.
And Laman said unto them, "You may do according to your desires."
Mm.
And it came to pass that they did take of the wine freely, and it was pleasant to their taste and very desirable. No, that's not in there. Sorry. That's a line from the temple film when Satan is trying to get them to eat the fruit. It is pleasant to the taste, very desirable.
And very desirable.
Therefore, they took of it more freely, and it was strong, having been prepared in its strength, which really means it's been sitting around forever. Anyway, and it came to pass that they did drink and were merry, and by they were all drunken.
Hang on, I just want to point out, Mormons are all about the whole, straight edge, no alcohol, all that bullshit, right? The Nephites make stronger wine than the Lamanites did.
I need to get another drink.
Pretty sus.
Give me some Nephite wine.
And now when Laman and his men saw that they were all drunken and were in a deep sleep, the same kind of sleep that Laban was in when Nephi killed him, they returned to Moroni and told him all the things that had happened. And now this was according to the design of Moroni. And Moroni had prepared his men with weapons of war, all those steel things,
Not
and
weapons
he
of
went
peace.
to the city of Gid while the Lamanites were in a deep sleep and drunken, and cast in weapons of war unto the prisoners, insomuch that they were all armed. So they were just walking around this wall going, here comes a sword, here comes your things. Yeah, throwing it
Playing
over
catch
the wall.
with battle axes is a
Literally-
perfectly safe sport.
Literally every single Lamanite was drunk and asleep. Like
Yeah,
they didn't have the wisdom to say, "Hey, you and you're on guard duty, no drinking."
Speaking of which,
Everybody.
I was just given this as a gift. I was given a handful of bottles of Samael's Dark Aged Ale. This is from Avery, and this is 18% ABV.
Oh, how cool.
Damn,
That's not beer.
That's
Jesus.
That's the kill pooth. That's the shells upside down.
Yeah, well,
I'm
I'll let you
drinking
know what I think of this.
I'm drinking a very. It's good, but it's weak. It's a Mac and Jack. It's a local beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've
Jack
got water.
Mormon.
Stay hydrated.
Same.
Well,
I've
somebody's got to drive
water.
this show.
Stay hydrated.
Right.
See, Bryce, I only drink that when I'm on keto diet. That's the only time I'll ever drink Miller Lite.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's my
Never-
D&D night beer. We had a little left over. So
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
Now, Avery
Coffee.
makes this other beer called Rumkin, which I was really impressed by, but I didn't like the name. I thought that it should
Rumkin.
be called
Doesn't sound
Goddamn,
like it.
because everybody that I've ever given it, some of it to, that's what their reaction has been. They always take a sip. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Now
Is it
that's
a good
marketing.
goddamn or a bad goddamn?
I would
No,
want to
it was
call
a
it
good goddamn.
Rammy-umpkin, though, rather than Rumpkin. Just Rammy-umpkin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Then you could sing it, Rammy-umpkin, Rammy-umpkin. Yeah.
Damn,
right.
this would go well on pancakes.
Yes.
Are you drunk?
Not yet, but
He
I
just
am
wants
working on it.
pancakes.
At 18% beer, he will be here really soon.
He will be. All right.
Like a laminite.
It's like 3 beers in one.
Yea, even to their women and all those of their children, as many as were able to use a weapon of war. So you imagine the little kids, these 12-year-old kids in this 2 towers that are getting ready to fight at Helm's Deep. Children younger than that picking up these axes. Yeah. When Moroni had armed all of those prisoners, and all those things were done in a profound silence.
And
Moroni.
just one more thing to add to the list of Moroni being the good guy. He's committed genocide against political enemies. He has taken people as prisoners of war and made them make their own prison camps before slaughtering all of them. And now child soldiers. We can just add that one to the list. That's pretty great. Oh yeah, and making people soon to be victims of genocide dig their own graves. So
Yes.
he's our good guy. He's our moral paragon. He's the guy the Mormon dressed up as when he marched on the fucking Capitol.
Yep.
Give him some slack. I mean, we have had for the last several chapters tens of thousands of people dying in every war, like every weekend for these people. There's another war where 10,000 people. This is
But
all
he's
out
the one killing them.
We're just describing it now
Details.
as what's happening.
It's not the Lamanites killing Nephites. It's him killing the Lamanites.
I put a link in our private chat. Have you all seen this?
What?
Oh no.
Sigh.
Oh no.
Why though?
Gonna be able to look at that.
That feels wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
And
know.
the
I
audience,
don't
the
know if
audience
we
is
should-
wondering what the heck we're looking at.
It's
might
a
be better to
picture.
not
It's a
tell them.
picture of and I've seen this. I've heard it. Everything. Yeah, because I grew up in this time period. It's a picture of a vinyl record cover, and you have Native American women in there, grinning with their headbands and a feather sticking up. And
Oh
their
yeah,
arms like
Lamanite
this.
generation.
And otherwise, they're all wearing the same shirt that Ozzy Osbourne wore on the Snowblind album.
I would like to point
That album's
out that
great.
it's
They're a great
specifically-
band. They're
it's spec-
fantastic.
It's specifically made to look like Native American garb, but that which has been made white and delightsome, because that is
Yep.
not traditional Native American garb. So they've got a white feather, a white band, and then this sort of like supposing to look like traditional shirt that is dyed bleach white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like regular fabric, but it's got the fringe on the arm,
It's
so
not
it looks
regular fabric.
native-ish.
Tell
It's
me-
a satin fabric, and their arms are out like this, and you got the fringe on it. Native Americans didn't use fringe. This was a white thing.
Mhm.
Ugh, so,
You tell
and
me,
in fact,
it-
it
Native
was not
Americans.
even. It wasn't even really as something that people that guys out there like mountain men and all that shit were wearing all the time, because it gets in the way of shit. This is something they would wear in those shows that they would do. Wild Bill and all of his stuff, the shows where like what's her name? The girl who could shoot really well.
Annie Oakley?
Annie Oakley would be in the show, and they would have, the different Native Americans in there, and they would stage these battles and all that fucking shit. That's where you saw these kind of outfits. White people wearing them for show is not what people wore regularly.
You mean to tell me that 19th century Native Americans did not dress like 1973 Black Sabbath?
No,
Okay.
they did not.
I added a
So-
link to the Facebook group if anyone wants to become a fan of the former performing BYU group called Lamanite Generation.
There's a second image. If you mouse over the image and click right, there's a second image of the back of the album, which has
Oh, nice.
the track titles as well as a paragraph spiel about who these ladies are.
Yeah.
It says Lamanite Generation is a Brigham Young University Program Bureau musical variety show. Co-sponsored by the Tribes of Many Feathers, it features talented Indian students in both modern and traditional productions. Yada, yada, yada. Contact the Office of University Programs and then their address. So, yeah, this was a real thing back in what,
Yep.
this is the 70s? What's the
70s
date?
and
I don't
80s.
know.
No, they
Again,
still
all these-
exist.
These are Indian performers. I'm betting none of them have even ever
Nope.
been to India.
It answers that. Okay, all right. But it says right here the
Mm.
program also includes Polynesian and Mexican
Yes.
students, and the word Lamanite is used to describe all three
All of them.
cultures.
Yes, because
Awesome.
according to Mormons, they are. Yeah.
That's nice. That's really
It's-
I
it's
cool.
forgot.
important-
I forgot that they thought Polynesians were
Yes.
Lamanites.
Yeah,
What
they
am I
get it
doing?
from
I've
the-
seen the other side of heaven.
Yep. Exactly.
It's important to note with this that these are really serious Native American people that have a Lamanite identification. And we're joking about it and stuff, but they really truly have been indoctrinated with that type of sense. And I know people personally that are in that band, and they still exist, and they're really proud groups of people from the whole gamut of Lamanites.
Wait,
That's
just
so-
just
that's
I
so
just wanna make
crazy.
sure I understood you, Gazalem. You know people personally who are in that band?
Yeah, I
I
worked with the
I think it has to be called something else because it looks like
Lamanite
the
Generation.
Lamanite Generation the official group from BYU was disbanded. Maybe there are people
Yes.
who are still using it.
And they
but-
were
they
dancers.
still
not
do
a band.
performance.
Yeah.
Well, they started as a band, and then they did big stage performances with whole groups and stuff. It's a big
Variety
It's
show.
a big thing. Yeah, it became a variety show, but the original was just
There we go.
were like folk
Yeah.
singers and groups.
Yeah,
They're
somebody in the
really
chat- somebody in the chat said, Super Strike 9 says, to be fair, I think only Black Sabbath dressed like 1973 Black Sabbath. No, you've got to see this album cover.
They
There's
just showed
5
it. He
Native
just
American
showed it up
women
there.
wearing
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne's shirt.
Yeah.
I'm hung up
Yeah,
on
and those,
how they have the squaw feather and
Yeah.
whether they're aware of the implications of that or not.
No.
Probably not, considering
those
it's
little
just
those little frills coming off their sleeves. They're so perfectly
It's
combed.
fringe.
They're just
It's a
so
fringe.
perfect.
Yeah. And they get
But
in
hey,
the way.
Now
Hey, I
but
think
now I've got
we're all
the
we're all
line.
we're all missing the
Yep,
important thing here. If you look at that price tag, $5.99, that's a steal for that
That
album.
is a steal.
Yeah.
That was expensive in 1973.
That's probably
yeah, we're
current
talking
price gold at-
pre-UPCs here.
This
There's
is a
no
car
barcode on
payment.
that thing.
That's a modern picture taken at Deseret Industries, a church-owned thrift store where they have
resell that stuff.
people
That's
with
recent.
disabilities are used basically as slave labor there, and it's all tax-free. So that's
That's
why.
Y'all should
recent.
scroll that Facebook group. It's gonna make you want to throw up.
Thank you.
Oh my word.
This
Okay,
makes me
well,
want to throw
I'm
up.
gonna-
So
I'm going
not
to
going
channel
there.
Tomer. I think we are distracting from the
I am distracted. I mean, to add upon Gazalem's point, is everybody here somewhat familiar with just how Utahns treated the indigenous population for
Yep.
the non-Mormon indigenous population until very recently?
Well,
I'm
a
gonna
lot
guess
of
it
those
wasn't
people
well.
were in that because they were adopted into Mormonism through the adoption program.
Eric, there are full tribes that were slaughtered by Mormons.
I believe it.
Completely slaughtered, complete genocide of certain tribes.
Yeah,
I'm more
I believe
referring
it.
to the way they would actually use the Lamanite as a pejorative for
Yeah.
decades
Yeah.
in Utah to like put down like I'm not going to listen to a fucking Lamanite. Well, they probably didn't say fucking.
No,
They're
they didn't
probably
say
very
fucking.
proud of themselves for not cussing, but
Mm-hmm.
having the hateful heart that comes behind the cussing they had. But they didn't say fucking. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to
The
it.
people
I'm
have
dirty
learned
with
to embrace it. They embrace it as their heritage. The family in my ward were Hawaiian, and they were very proud Lamanites.
I'm looking
There
at
was-
a picture that's on a link that Jimmy just provided. This is BYU Lamanite Generation alumni. And the story that I just heard, which of course, being raised Mormon, I was never told this story. I was never told anything about this. But seeing this Native American man posing for this picture as a Lamanite generation alumni at BYU, he surely heard this story, didn't he?
I don't know.
Wh-
I really truly don't know.
Story
This
of
is
his.
of all the slaughtering of the
Oh.
Native Americans. I mean, Brigham Young did even worse than that. He would do things like have the Mormons lace flour with glass, broken glass, and give it to him to sell it to them, or put poisons in it and all that kind of shit. I mean, there's so much garbage that they would do then, but Mormons don't like to talk about that.
Golly
And
gosh,
so-
oh gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, and so
Cowboys and Indians.
it's awful.
Yeah. It's a sad thing. My age again is going to be relevant here, but when I was a little kid, I had people in my family who actually I can't even say what they said. I
Mhm.
shouldn't say what they
I-
said. But
yeah, Yeah, the
I
common
commonly
phrase
heard
goes,
statements that were more abrasive than any ethnic
Yeah.
slur that Gen Z or millennials ever hear.
yeah.
But if you utter the phrase "Oh my God" in their presence, it's like shoving broken
That's the
glass into their
worst.
ears. They
Yeah.
no, how dare
Yeah.
you?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I am so.
Thing.
I'm flipping food because I'm cooking right now, and you guys are talking about one of my favorite fucking things. The hypocrisy and the stupidity across. It's not just Mormons, by the way. Like there's somebody on the show today going, "I don't understand why you're getting emotional and cussing," and I was literally like, "Because you're being frustrating by lying and talking over me. This is the appropriate time to do that." But my dad brags about how he's only said the F word like 4 times in his whole life. Meanwhile, I'm like, yeah, what about the times you were like chasing us around a room with a belt, yelling at us that we're taking stupid pills? You think that's fucking like, oh, you didn't swear. All you did was terrorize your children, but you never said fuck. The fuck?
Right.
What is
That-
wrong with you?
That
very
reminds
noble.
me of when my dad would brag that he'd only said the N word 4 times during breakfast.
Oh God.
Wow.
That's terrible.
I never heard my dad say that one, I guess. But again,
I heard that one growing up,
I
but
heard.
it wasn't considered so much a swear word like it is now.
Yeah,
And
but
so-
it was. I heard it so many times every
Yeah.
single day, every time I was
Mhm.
with him. That was just
Yeah.
a word that came out for everything.
Yeah.
But like
I-
the Mormon philosophy on it is you shouldn't be held responsible for the anger or the spirit behind your words if it doesn't include it. So like with the N-word example, be like, oh yeah, maybe I said black people are lesser and that they should go back to Africa, but I didn't call them the swear word. So, I didn't really do anything wrong.
Right,
It's just
right.
this condescending bullshit that's like, you're afraid of the concept of like intrinsic values in words. It's like you are
Mhm.
still in kindergarten and there's just a rule of the words you can't say, even if it's the appropriate time to say it.
It's a really
And-
interesting thing for a theist to argue about, considering how they love to play word definition games.
Yes.
Equivocation shit.
It's
Whenever-
much like when Mormons will also say black people are the bad ones. They were made black because they were bad in the pre-earth life. And so the only way they can get into heaven is to become good, and then they will be white and delightsome. That's just as bad in my mind as calling somebody the N-word.
I remember there was that Mormon animation actually showing black people becoming white
Yes.
once they ascend to heaven.
The anti-Mormon animation, but
Yeah, a reminder to people, because it keeps getting lost. Everyone who isn't Mormon thinks the God Makers on YouTube is a Mormon, was published by the Mormon Church. It was not. It is not a creation of Mormonism.
It is
No.
not.
It
It
is
made the
radical
rounds of my
Christians.
mission while I was there and out on my mission. And I was in Pennsylvania, the central part from 1988 to 89. And so my mission president had to talk to us about it because it gives the temple
It's so
ceremony in
scandalous.
it, all this shit. And so we had to be ready for people to ask us questions. And so he went through the whole thing about it, saying what we could talk about, what we couldn't, which things in the temple were okay to say something and which ones, and how we should respond when they bring up the stuff we're not, and all this shit. But it was like, it was nuts. And it was very much, don't watch it. We don't want you you watching it when people ask you to, but these are the way you can answer the questions. And so, yeah, it's a
So that we
really,
too can become gods.
it's a crazy thing. All right, so should we move on
Please.
so we can at least finish this chapter?
I was just going to say to people who don't know what we're talking about, there's a popular cartoon on YouTube that I think is called on YouTube What the Mormons Believe, and it doesn't at any point indicate it's not surprising that people think that it's an old church video, because it
It looks
doesn't
like the
actually
old
present it.
animations back then that the church did put out sometimes. So it kind of mimics that.
So what you're
type of
saying was
style.
I was bamboozled. Is what you're saying basically.
What
Pretty
you
much.
need to do,
You're
if
not
you-
the only one. I've seen like many atheist YouTubers from back in the day. In fact, I think it was one of the first back when I was in the. Never mind. I'm not going to say the name of any, but there was a group I used to watch of edgy atheists back in the day who reviewed it, and I like emailed them like, "Hey, you guys were presenting that like I'm an ex-Mormon, but that's not like current." That's
But
not what
Eric,
we believe.
Eric, you might be familiar with it. It's Jeremiah Films, and they put out a lot of films against the Jehovah Witnesses too, like how to keep
Oh,
those
really?
pesky Jehovah Witnesses off your front porch. And
Oh, that
some
might be
guy
good.
sprays them with the hose. Yeah, look
That
up
might be good,
Jeremiah Films on YouTube, and you'll find all kinds of funny like anti-Christian cult videos. They're evangelical videos that were put out to fight
Jeremiah Films.
the evil. Yeah.
That might be
That's
some good
actually the
YouTube.
channel, too.
That
And
might
it's
be
called-
some. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's called Banned Mormon Cartoon Extended Version, which
Yeah.
people think that implies that the church doesn't want non-members to see it, basically, and that's what people have taken away from the title. And yeah,
I see.
that's what Gazalem just said. It's it's their YouTube channel that has it up.
Okay, I'm gonna check them out because if they have like anti-Jehovah's Witness content, that might be really good YouTube video fodder.
Oh, that's
There
great
you go.
stuff too.
Cool.
It's all time
Yeah.
period, like
Awesome.
80s creepy shit.
Yeah,
Mm.
that creepy 80s simplistic like animations. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If y'all
Okay.
want to see the old actual Mormon videos, there is a channel on YouTube called Hard to Find Mormon Videos, and
Yeah.
They're really good.
they
Good.
have a huge collection of them. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Jenna, did you finish this chapter?
Nope, I haven't. I keep trying, but then y'all interrupt me. Chapter 55, verse 18. We got to finish this because everybody's drunken in drunken state.
I'm not
They've all
yet,
passed.
but I'm
They've all-
well on my way.
They passed
I
out.
don't
because they're
drink, which
drunk.
makes me better than everyone.
I don't drink either, so I'm better than all of you. Now, but had
We're
they
the ones that are
awakened
awake.
the Lamanites, behold, they were drunken, and the Nephites could have slain them, kind of like Nephi did Laban, you know. But behold, this was not the desire of Moroni. He did not delight in murder and bloodshed, but he delighted in the saving of his people from destruction. And for this cause, he might not bring upon him injustice. He would not fall upon the Lamanites and destroy them in their drunkenness.
Oh,
Right.
good guy.
Yeah, but he'll destroy his own
Fucking
people because they
great guy.
disagree with him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's a
just
really good
remind him.
guy.
But he had obtained his desires, for he had armed those prisoners of the Nephites who were within the wall of the city, and had given them power to gain possession of those parts which were within the walls. See, he's being tricky. And then
Gaza.
he caused, and now here's the stupid thing too, when you think about it, is
Oh, just this?
were the women and children trained in how to fight? Because if they're not, they are a complete liability in the middle of a bunch of soldiers fighting. They are a problem for everybody, not just themselves. This is why I'm like, there's no such thing as a good guy with a gun when you got an active shooter. That just causes more problems. Okay.
But if the Nephites had them guns,
Right.
that was it. I was
Sure.
just being a redneck.
You
You're
guys need to
making it
understand, Moroni is playing 4D chess here, you guys. He's going to do something to make it seem like he wants this thing, but he's going to do something else, and kind of like a gotcha at the end. You
And he
know?
wants to give the women and children PTSD for the rest of their lives.
It's
And
very,
then
very
he
sneaky.
caused the men who were with him to withdraw a pace from them and surround the armies of the Lamanites. Now, behold, this was done in the nighttime, so that when the Lamanites awoke in the morning, they beheld that they were surrounded by the Nephites without, and that their prisoners were armed within. And thus they saw that the Nephites had power over them. And in these circumstances, they found that it was not expedient that they should fight with the Nephites. Therefore, their chief captains demanded their weapons of war. And they brought them forth and cast them at the feet of the Nephites, pleading for mercy. So he's just going to take a whole bunch more prisoners, right?
I
Now,
have a quick
behold,
question.
this was the desire of Moroni. He took them prisoners of war because he had not enough food for the prisoners he already had, and took possession of the
question.
city and caused that all the prisoners should be liberated who were
Raise my hand.
Nephites. And they did join the army of Moroni and were a great strength to his army. All these untrained people.
I have a question. What verse are we on?
I just read 24 of chapter
Great.
55.
I was just going to ask him, what chapter are we on? All right, well, that's.
And I said it before I started reading, but you were not listening to me
I'm
because you're
cooking.
rude.
And which
All
book
right.
are we in?
Alma.
That was a-
Alma,
that one was- that one
55,
was a joke.
verse 25.
Damn it, Jimmy.
Hold
That
it.
one's a joke.
What-
There's no other 55 in the book, I don't think.
Nope,
what
there's not.
religion is this?
And who am I?
The Church of Joseph Smith.
Who would I be in this whole thing?
The obnoxious
Amen.
asshole. Okay.
Jesus Christ!
Oh,
I
What
love
the
you,
fuck
Jimmy.
did I do?
Shannon's
Interrupt
just a
me.
meanie. Meanie, meanie.
Oh,
And it
really?
came to pass that he did cause the Lamanites, whom he had taken prisoners, that they should commence a labor in strengthening the fortifications round about the city of Gid. And it came to pass that when he had fortified the city of Gid according to his desires, because this whole chapter is about his desires, he caused that his prisoners should be taken to the city Bountiful. And he also guarded that city with an exceedingly strong force made up of women and children who have no fucking idea how to fight. And all have PTSD. And it
But
came
they
to
have armor.
pass.
Hey, Timmy, Tommy, here's some spears. Guard this gate.
Like, yeah.
Just stick to the
Take your
sleepy
mama
ones.
take your mama who's breastfeeding with you. Yeah, she can use
Are
she
you-
can hold the baby with one arm and a sword with the other. She's good.
Timmy, are you crying again? Stop crying and guard the gate.
God. Yes.
Oh, God, it's terrible.
And it came to pass that they did, notwithstanding all the intrigues of the Lamanites, keep and protect all the prisoners whom they had taken, and also maintain all the ground and the advantage which they had retaken. And it came to pass that the Nephites began again to be victorious and to reclaim their
Victory.
rights and their privileges. Many times did the Lamanites attempt to encircle them about by night, but in these attempts they did lose many prisoners. And this is my favorite. And many times did they attempt to administer of their wine to the Nephites, that they might destroy them with poison or with drunkenness. But behold, the Nephites were not slow to remember the Lord their God in this their time of affliction, because I guess they had the word of wisdom, but they made really strong wine. Got it.
I just love how they're like, no. The Nephites didn't accept the Lamanites' wine because they remembered God, not because they had just fucking pulled that trick on them that put them in this
Right.
position of advantage. No, they didn't accept it because Jesus.
God.
That's right.
God would strike them down with lightning. Yeah.
I could use some elaboration on
Furious
verse 29.
anger.
Yes.
I could use some elaboration on verse 29. Many times did the Lamanites attempt to encircle them about by night. So that's the enemy encircling the city that
Yes.
the prisoners, women and children were guarding. But in these attempts, they did lose many prisoners. Does that mean Timmy and Tommy fell in battle?
No, it's because they're all in because some people
'Cause-
have placed this in North America, but then
Right.
the people that raised me thought all of this was going on in South America, in which case this would be a jungle.
Right.
And so it's Jumanji going on. That's why they lost a lot of people. They try to encircle them at night, and the venomous plants, and then the crocodiles.
Oh,
and
okay. So
you
the
know,
attacking force lost a lot of people, not the
Yeah.
defending
So-
force.
Yes.
Oh,
they
okay. All
lost
right. All right.
their
Gotcha.
prisoners.
Yeah, the
Probably
Lamanites are
because-
currently the prisoners of the Nephites.
Yeah.
Lamanites. Okay.
And but the Lamanites trying to encircle them are losing their own prisoners that were Nephites. So the
Gotcha.
implication there is that the Nephites are getting away. So
Okay.
great. All
I'm
right.
still figuring
now
out.
let's
Still,
see.
still figuring out all the players on the chessboard here. So,
Oh
okay.
man, this is
Yeah, this is the
There's
worst.
there's so many
theme-
parts.
the worst kind of D&D ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go back a ways, back to 2 Nephi. We should go back to 2 Nephi.
Just remember that the lead bad guy at the moment is literally a moron.
Yes.
Replacing
He's the
his
good guy.
fallen
He's
brother, Amalickia.
Yeah.
Wait,
right.
Amalickia died?
Yeah, he was killed by
Oh,
Tiancum.
bummer.
He got
Yeah,
Stuck.
Tiancum got him.
Are you,
He
does he
snuck
return?
into his tent and javelined him
Think
in the
about these
heart.
names.
He doesn't return as a ghost? No?
Eric,
Nope.
Eric, think about these names.
He didn't use,
I know.
He didn't use poison. So of course he didn't return as a ghost. He used a javelin. If he
Yeah.
poured poison in his ear, then Amalickia could have come back as a ghost. But see,
Yeah.
just
So we got a guy who's called a moron.
Yep.
That's his name, is a
Yep.
moron. I am a moron. Behold, I am a moron. And then we have another guy called Amalickia.
Amalickia. Yep. Remember that.
And then
Have we gotten to Nimrod yet? No.
and then we have another guy named T and Cum.
We've got a Nimrod coming, and his brothers Dipwit, Shit Dick, and Squee.
there we go.
That was a
you-
reference to Brett Kavanaugh. I don't know.
You know, we do make fun of Joseph Smith for being terrible at coming up with names, but you have
Stupid.
to hand it to him. Some of these are fucking classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for bringing me up to speed on all these
They weren't as
characters.
funny then, but they're a
This
lot more funny
absolutely
now.
wasn't a huge practical
I
joke
mean-
that just completely got out of hand.
I mean,
There are
moron.
people who think it actually was. They think he was trying to see just how far he could go with and have people still believe him.
Yeah.
I think because Gazalem falls into that camp.
I don't
Maybe
think he was that
Was
smart.
it
I
you
do.
that said that the last time we did this show? Like, this guy is just making up shit to see what he can get away with.
Yeah.
That's
That's
been
what
my
Gazalem
ongoing
said.
theory.
I think
No,
that's
I
all
was-
holy
But
text, actually.
It's an absolute genius. It even says at the end, if you do not believe, it says right in Moroni's promise and everything, that everybody commits to this book because they know how ridiculous it is. That's the
Yeah.
whole goal of the book,
Crazy.
is to know.
Gazalem. Spoilers.
That's my job.
Sorry,
That's what Matt
Shannon.
White says every time I get on. Now Shannon's going to
I-
give us the spoilers.
You
Everybody's
talked
trying to
about
take my
Moroni
job.
promise already, so I was just repeating what you've already told us.
Well, it's because every time the missionaries give out the book, every time anybody gives out the book, they don't tell them to read the actual book. They just tell them to go and read Moroni 10:4 and then pray about it, and they'll know it's true without reading anything else. That's
Just
because
do
nobody
some
wants
proof.
them.
Just do some proof texting. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all,
All the
you
rest
need.
of the stuff is just garnish around the main course. Yeah.
No.
It says if you pray and find that it is not true. It says not true. It doesn't say true. If you
Shannon, you
read
gonna
the actual
finish
quote.
this chapter? Why
I'm
are you
trying,
waiting
but
so-
everybody keeps talking.
I have so many questions.
It's okay. I don't mind questions. It's all the weird tangents. But
Hey, how's
behold,
the
the
weather?
Nephites were not slow to remember the Lord their God in this their time of affliction. They could not be taken in their snares. Yeah, they would not partake of their
Yay.
wine, save they had first given some to the Lamanite prisoners.
Wait.
Oh, poison testers.
First, they're gonna give some to the Lamanite, whatever.
They're giving them the wine first to make sure it's not poison. So they got poison tasters.
Oh, when
And
Pretty
they
sure
were
that's
just
another
wine.
another war crime.
Hey,
That's
they're
something-
they're not slicing off a piece of that. They're giving some wine. Okay.
That's something I would never want to have happen to me. Here, drink this, and then everyone watches you drink it and like are watching you really closely to see what happens.
Yep.
Like,
What is it? It's wine. Yeah, wink, wink.
Yep.
How you feeling? Lightheaded?
I'm
Like you're about to
Quite
die?
often. Quite often.
Everybody's
with
looking
the-
at their watch. About
Around.
5 minutes, people.
It was quite often young boys that they would have do it too. And so that's a whole nother problem. Yes. And they were thus cautious that no poison should be administered among them. For if their wine would poison a Lamanite, it would also poison a Nephite. And
What?
thus they did
Wait,
try
wait.
all their liquors.
Doesn't the Bible say several times that a faithful Christian is immune to all poisons?
Yes.
So if the
But the
Nephites
Book
are
of
on
Mormon
the
doesn't. The
Well,
Book of Mormon
that's
doesn't
the
say that.
pseudo ending to Mark. Like it's generally not accepted to be biblical canon, I guess.
I see. The Nephites left before Mark was written, so they don't get the
Yes.
Yeah.
special powers.
They
Okay.
don't get that till after 3rd Nephi.
I do
I
want
feel
And
to.
now-
that this isn't even the biggest like hypocrisy though surrounding it, because I'd say the bigger one is Mormonism is filled with the concept that no good person drinks alcohol except for all of their heroes.
Yeah. I mean, one of Brigham Young's wagons that he brought was full of his still that he was bringing. Ugh.
Good people don't drink alcohol. Good people force other people to drink alcohol to see if it's poisoned.
Yep.
Prison,
Exactly.
they're prison children. Yes.
Yes.
Bryce, were you gonna say something?
I just wanted to make a textual point. Liquor. The word liquor.
I'm like you.
Liquor from Reformed Egyptian. I'm sorry, what? And also,
That's pretty cool.
How did we go from wine, something that's fermented, to distilled liquors? How did
Yeah.
that little thing happen? Well, that's the terminology in the 19th century when you adulterate
Technology.
alcohol with something with poisons, or with when you use alcohol solvents in order to extract psychoactive agents off of plants, it turns them into liquors. So that's just one of the small evidences from the Book of Mormon that I'm like, yeah, no, Joseph knew how to make psychedelic wine.
Yes.
I just point that
Amazing.
out just as a small tangent.
But you're also getting ahead of yourself again, once again with the anachronisms. If you would wait a minute, in Alma 56, Moroni orders a Jack and Coke. Explain that.
All right. I got 3 more verses. Am I going to get through them all?
Never.
Place your bets.
And now it came to pass that it was expedient for Moroni to make preparations to attack the city, Morianton. For behold, the Lamanites had, by their labors, fortified the city, Morianton, until it had become an exceeding stronghold. And they were continually bringing new forces into that city, and also new supplies of provisions. New forces after all those 10,000s upon 10,000s were killed. They've got more. Their babies grow up super duper fast. Yeah. And thus ended the
Evidently.
29th year of the reign of the judges over the people of Nephi.
Nephi.
Okay, finish that chapter.
Huzzah! Oh, wait, actually.
Yay.
And the next one is super long. It's
It's a
57
monster.
verses long.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
That is a
Yeah.
beast.
That's gonna probably have to wait till next time.
Yep.
Hey, I
Are
always
we
have to
leaving
just
early?
stop mid. I always have to stop mid mid book. So we could just stop on right in the
Aaron,
middle of a
it's
It's
paragraph.
only 6:18. What are you guys talking about?
Aaron,
You
have
know
a
what?
comment
You're
to
right.
read.
I mean, who wants to power through it? Who's going to read this chapter?
I got you.
I'll
Bro.
volunteer. I've never once read a
Yeah.
passage of the Book of Mormon.
Oh my
Eric,
gosh,
Eric,
yes,
you got to
yes.
say it
Let
right. I
Eric-
volunteer as tribute.
Pop my Mormon cherry here, guys. Come on.
Yeah, that sounds good. But yeah, we
It's
Which
been
also
do,
popped,
means
brother.
nobody
we do
can
have to
interrupt you.
bust through this, though. So yeah,
Everybody's
everybody just
mic
let
has to be
Eric
turned
read.
off.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
Now,
Alma.
remember, show it reverence.
See,
I
but-
will show it the utmost
So-
respect that I can possibly give it.
Problem is,
Should I
though,
put
I
my
need to
dick
say
away?
this. The stuff that's coming up in this chapter, we're going to have more with those 2,000 stripling warriors. There's a bunch of this stuff. And we either read it all through and just not talk about it, or I take the chance to show how Mormons use this. So that's the question. Does
Okay,
that matter
Shannon-
or not?
Shannon, tell him how far to read,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
then
guide me.
Because it starts
let's
with
just
an-
let's
see,
plan
it
some
does-
interruptions.
This is the problem is that's what
I
this
have
chapter
faith,
is.
you guys. I really have faith. Gotta have faith. The faith. It's gonna happen. Just go for it.
No, it won't.
I would like to
Helaman-
read if Moroni has
Helaman-
dialogue.
Helaman, who is commanding the 2,000 stripling warriors, sends an epistle to Moroni. And so that's what this chapter is about, recounting the war and all this kind of shit. That's why I'm like, can we just wait till next week? Because
Oh,
there's
yeah,
a lot
hold on.
with
Let
this.
me read another couple of comments here.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
So, Skeptical Brain says Bryce will know this, but Joseph Smith was obsessed with poisoning and even claimed Emma tried to poison him.
So that is true. There's a really famous incident with Joseph Smith when the first time he was caught with a teenage girl, her brothers dragged him out of the house and tried to put a vial of poison down his mouth, but he kept his mouth shut too tight and they chipped one of his teeth. So he had a chipped tooth until the day he died because of near poisoning. And yeah, when things were coming to a head, when he was worried about his empire collapsing, he did claim, well, it wasn't him. I think it was William Clayton. It was a later person who said that they remembered Joseph talking about Emma trying to poison him. But that was only uttered in the Utah era when the church was trying, or Brigham Young was trying very hard to vilify Emma in order to distance themselves away from Joseph III, who was leading Joseph Smith's patrilineal church. So yeah, did Emma actually try and do it? There's a reasonable discussion and reasonable people can debate about whether or not that actually happened. But I think it's entirely possible. Emma was pushed so far beyond her breaking point so many times. And, you know, when I have to think that when she caught word that Joseph had been shot or assassinated, that there was some small part of her that breathed a huge sigh of relief.
Understandably so.
I can guess which part.
By the way, since I brought it up earlier and I like people to think I'm smart, July 1842, it was the WASP had a story which reported that Orson Pratt had implicitly accused Joseph Smith of basically not caring about accusations that some people were being gay because he implied that Joseph might be doing gay stuff.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Now, a real person,
newspaper.
comment from somebody identified as real person offers
Totally not an
$5.
AI.
I'm convinced.
Yeah. Offers $5 and says, I'm going to need Eric SNS to fart on this bad boy. First time at Fight Club and all.
So first night at Fight Club, you have to fight.
That's a
first
compelling
night at-
argument.
First night at reading Joseph Smith, you have to read. Is that it?
Is this person trying to suggest that they were the German guy, the guy pretending to be German who screamed, I farted on this bad boy during the last show?
Maybe.
I have no idea. But Eric, I would like the this kind of, I would like you to read, but like one other comment just came up. Raven 200 offers $10 and says, petition to replace Jimmy with skeptics and scoundrels. Speaking of, Jimmy, go take a Dragon Flame loud singing jutsu by Madara Uchiha, then a Blood Demon Art 8-layered Obi slash from Daki.
I am impressed you managed all those words.
My response to that is, Raven,
Japanese.
Raven, we don't say the plan out loud. Don't let him know. Okay.
Like, I would be opposed to it. I've been trying to get into the behind the scenes game the fucking whole time. I'm tired of being a public figure. I fucking hate this shit.
All right. So
But
Shannon
you guys are
asked,
nice.
Shannon asked that we not read any further, which boy,
I
I'm
concur.
conflicted.
I concur because this is a dense fucking chapter. It's also like it's long. Like this is one of the longest chapters in this entire book, and it's extremely dense. A lot happens, and if we're like, look, we can't stay on topic when we talk about a tangent that is relevant to the material, let alone like just like all of our other tangents that always spawn from all of those. There is no way that we are going to be able to actually analyze any of this chapter without going 3 more hours.
How about read the go ahead.
I vote someone reads the book of Pookie Eye.
Oh, there's an idea.
I was going to suggest that I just simply read the introductory paragraph there, just as a.
That's spoilers.
That's spoilers, but it's right there at the beginning.
Go ahead. You know what? Go ahead. Eric shut up. Eric can read it, and then we know what's coming.
Right.
So you got the preview for next week.
Yeah, now it's a
heard
teaser.
Spoilers from Ether and Moroni and Mormon already. So
yeah. So I mean, and then I'll have technically read something of the Book of Mormon, and the Fight Club rule is handled. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like this compromise. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
We're much better at negotiating than a moron.
Just
shut up.
Understand that the copy that you probably have, I may have these names misspelled. Helaman is hell of a man, and Antipuss obviously is anti-pussy.
Okay, I will try. Okay.
Who did Gazalem just yell "shut up" to? I'm so confused.
Shannon.
Oh,
Okay, here we go. All right. Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Helaman sends an epistle to Moroni recounting the state of war with the Lamanites. Antipussy and Helaman gain a great victory over the Lamanites. Helaman's 2,000 stripling sons fight with miraculous power, and none of them are slain.
whoa.
There we
Wait,
go.
is this the first time Antipuss has come up?
Yes.
Yeah.
So who's not thinking that a lot of this was a joke by Joseph? Who doesn't think that?
Very gullible people.
Yeah. Hell of a man and anti-pussy. Yeah.
The joke is on
And,
you
and
guys,
the same
man.
person who wrote this went on to write James Bond scripts.
There you
The
go.
dude, and the chapter's about the stripling warriors. He literally wrote this when he got back from the stripling club.
Yep.
These
That's
are the
what I do it
warriors
for.
who wear only collars and cufflinks.
That's right.
Well,
And they
I'm-
swing around their swords before they get their arms chopped off. That's a fucked up part of the show, I admit.
I am kind of leaning towards. I mean, because we're still half an hour short of a regular show. I think, Eric, if you are interested in reading some Joseph Smith material that is not from Joseph Smith, I think I might agree with Gazalem in saying the Book of Pukia. I might be reading a chapter out of that. Might be really great.
Sure.
Bryce, you should explain what the Book of Pukiai is.
I would love to. When Joseph was shopping, so after Joseph had written this book, he was had it being published at the E.B. Grandin printing press. But the way the printing presses worked is oftentimes when the day work was done, people would come in and they would moonlight writing their own papers, and they would just use the local printing press in order to publish them. So a guy named Abner Cole was a resident of Joseph Smith's town, Palmyra, Manchester area, who knew the Smith family very well, knew all of the local lore about the Smith family. And he was working at moonlighting, publishing his little paper in the same printing press that the Book of Mormon was being printed. And it was called the Palmyra Reflector. And he published it under a pseudonym of named Obadiah Dogberry. So first, when he found that the Book of Mormon was being printed there, he was like, "Oh, this is fucking gold." So he started printing the first 2 chapters of the first book of Nephi, giving everybody a preview of it and talking about how fucking stupid it was. Well, Joe and his brother Hiram went and tuned up Abner Cole, and he stopped publishing prints of the Book of Mormon and instead wrote a satire that incorporates a bunch of Smith family biological information that is like important to know for Mormon historians. Like there's a lot of dense information within it. But it's important because this is the first satire of the Book of Mormon, and it was published before the Book of Mormon itself was published.
Nice.
1830.
And this guy hated Joseph Smith. Hated. And he was a way better writer than Joseph.
Which isn't saying a whole lot, really.
No.
In our merch
Aw.
store, we actually sell stuff that's it's called Trolled by Obadiah Dogberry. And
Oh,
that's
cool.
It's great.
Can you imagine going to grade school with the surname Dogberry?
I mean, it was a pen name, but like, yeah.
it's a pseudonym. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I put a link in the
Yeah,
group
I
chat
got it here. So am I just reading from the beginning of the chapter? Don't worry about the preamble.
Yeah, I think just halfway down the page, chapter 1.
Okay. Let's see here. How many chapters?
This should be good.
All right,
There's
there's only 10
2.
verses. Only
Yeah.
10 verses, chapter 2, and it's 2 verses total. Oh, 2 chapters total. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. It's a short
All
book.
right.
Mhm.
Okay. The Book of Pukie. It came to pass in the later days that wickedness did much abound, and the quote idle and slothful said one to another, "Let us send for Walters the magician, who has strange books and deals with familiar spirits. Peradventure he will inform us where the Nephites hid their treasure. So be it, that we have our vagabond van did not perish for lack of sustenance."
So just some background information. The idle and indolent is his nickname for the treasure digging group that Joseph Smith was the seer for. They were just known in the town as the idle and indolent folk. Those bunch of lazy fuckers running around at night chasing spooks and whatnot.
Okay. And what about the mystery van?
And the guy that it mentions there, Walters, this is somebody who is known as like a magician who was a mentor to Joseph Smith, who taught Joseph a lot of things about how to use seer stones, about how to, in my opinion, make magic potions that could summon spirits and whatnot.
Yeah, and his catchphrase was jinkies.
I'm a little confused here. This might be my lack of command of the English language, but there's an opening quote there on the second line, idle, but where does it end? The paragraph ends.
It doesn't seem to.
Yeah, like that's what threw me off in that reading is like there's no closing. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
It happens in the Book of Mormon all the time.
Okay. Is that by design or is that just an oversight?
It could have been tradition at the time that if the quote continued all the way to the end of the paragraph, that's just where the quote ended, is at the end of the paragraph.
That's not what it is. This is just a typo. The whole thing, it does say idle and slothful in quotes. It's, whoever typed this up did not include.
Okay, I gotcha. All right. Okay. Verse 2. Now, Walters, the magician, was a man unseemingly to look upon. I can relate. And to profound ignorance added the most consummate imprudence. The summons of the idle and slothful, and produced an old book in an unknown tongue. From whence he read in the presence of the idle and the slothful strange stories of hidden treasures and
from
of the
whence?
Spirit.
From whence?
From whence?
He's satirizing the Book of Mormon. Yes, of course he's going to include like the shit grammar of the Book of Mormon.
It's like coup whip. From whence? Coup whip.
This guy's a genius, man.
So was the original Book of Mormon like the sealed portion? Did it contain a lot of like, and here's where to find treasure number A. Here's where treasure number B.
Yes.
It's in the appendix.
Very interesting to find out.
And then there's occasionally you come across a line, do you see Striper? Or what is Swiper?
Striper.
Swiper, no swiping.
Okay, I want to find a spot to pick up that sentence, but that whole verse is just one sentence. Anyway, from whence he read in the presence of the idle and slothful strange stories of hidden treasures and of the Spirit who had custody thereof. And the idle and slothful paid tribute unto the magician and besought him, saying, "Oh, thou who art wise above all men and can interpret the book that no man undersaith, and can discover hidden things by the power of thy enchantments, lead us, we pray thee, to the place where the Nephites buried their treasure, and give us power over the Spirit, and we will be thy servants forever."
And one thing that's interesting and noteworthy there, because it's making reference to the guardian spirit over the gold plates, and we know that that's the angel Moroni who buried the plates at the end of the book, right? But the name Moroni was a later statement. Initially, it was the spirit of Nephi that appeared to Joseph Smith. And even Joseph published his original story stating the name of the angel that visited him in his room at night was the angel Nephi.
Okay. Well, I'm convinced. Go ahead and just baptize me now.
That's important for Mormons and ex-Mormons watching this. They're like, wait, but the Nephites, I was talking about the Nephites. No, this is also referring to the spirit itself was Nephi.
Gotcha. Okay. Verse 4, and the magician led the rabble unto the dark grove in a place called Manchester, where after drawing a magic circle with a rusty sword and collecting his motley crew, that's a great band, by the way,
yeah,
of Latter-de-Malians, within the center, he sacrificed a cock for purpose of precipitating the Prince of Spirits.
And it's a capital C cock, by the way.
That is a primetime cock he just sacrificed. It's not just a cock, it's a cock. All right.
Okay.
Verse 5. All things being ready, the idle and slothful fell to work with a zeal deserving a better cause. And many a livelong night was spent in digging for, quote, the root of all evil.
All the
Aha.
live long day.
Literally digging for literally a root?
I
Or is it
love that there's a memes
figuratively-
in this satire.
I'm confused here. Is it literally digging for a literal root, or is it literal digging for a
No,
figurative
because
root? Or
the
figuratively
golden
digging
plates.
for a
It's
literal-
money. The money is the root of all evil. The plates
Okay.
are made of gold. Yeah.
Plates
It's
made of gold.
references. Yeah.
All right. Joseph Smith was in it for the money, as you're saying.
That's what he
Okay,
said.
that's
There is some evidence to that
I-
effect.
I-
Hey,
Jungle
guys,
Berry. No.
don't be reductive. He was also in it for the pussy.
That's fair.
I don't know. A human
That
out
came
for
later.
a monetary gain? That's kind of a stretch. Anyway.
A religious human out for monetary gain.
Whoa, boom, boom,
He
boom.
published this before the church existed. That's what's fucking
Right.
crazy about this. This is before the Book
Yeah,
of Mormon is
it's-
published. This is before Joseph founded the church. He's like, no, he's in it for the fucking money. Y'all
This
watch out for
was a
guy.
guy trying to head off what he saw was
Clearly.
coming. Okay, I gotcha.
Mhm.
All right. Well, unbaptize me now. I'm now convinced the other direction. All right. Verse 6. Howbeit, all one word, howbeit.
Yes.
Owing to the wickedness and hardness of their hearts, these credulous and ignorant knaves were always disappointed, till finally their hopes, although frequent on the eve of consummation, like that of the hypocrite, perished, and their hearts became faint within them. I know these words individually, but together in a sentence, it's just
Basically, what he's saying
It's
there
almost
is
Edgar Allan Poe.
the idle and slothful are the group of treasure diggers. He said that Walters would lead them out into the dark grove at night. He would draw a magic sigil in the ground with a rusty sword, and then he would do his enchantments. He would speak his magic binding spells,
Yeah.
and then that's when they would start digging. But every time they almost thought they had the treasure, every
It
time
just-
the treasure would slip further into the
just would
ground. You know,
not
the
be
ground
there.
gnomes would steal it.
I gotcha.
So, yeah,
Tricky,
that's what he said.
tricky.
I gotcha. Kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. Then there's like they're after the
Hell
philosopher's,
yeah.
they're after the philosopher's stone. It just keeps on slipping away from them
Yep,
every time they're
yep,
close to it.
just a little bit further away.
Gotcha.
Those poor Elric brothers.
Yeah, great anime, by the way. If anyone hasn't watched it,
The
it's pretty
fucking
phenomenal.
best.
Best.
Both
It's
of
so
them
good.
are really good.
Yep.
Verse 7. And it came to pass that when the idle and slothful became weary of their nightly labors, they said one to another, "Lo, the imp of the devil hath deceiveth. Let us no more of him, or peradventure ourselves, our wives, and our little ones will become chargeable on the town."
They're like, this
Manchester doesn't mess
magician
around.
is running us out of house and home, and
It's,
we're not finding
yeah.
any treasure,
They're
just like Joseph
chargeable.
Smith did.
They're
Got a
chargeable,
feeling-
but it
got-
depends
got a
on where you
feeling we're-
plug them in.
Yeah. Got a feeling he's giving us a run around here, guys. Just a feeling. All right. Verse 8. Now, when Walters the magician heard these things, he was sorely grieved and said unto himself, "Lo, mine occupation is gone. Even those ignorant vagabonds, the idle and slothful, this time not capitalized, detect mine impostures. I will away and hide myself, lest the strong arm of the law should bring me to justice." So he's basically saying, I don't want to fight the law because the law will win. Kind of like
Yes.
that one
Yeah.
song. Okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
Gotcha. All right. Makes sense. Makes sense. I'm here with it. Verse 9. And he took his book and his rusty sword and his magic stone and his stuffed toad and all
Yeah,
his
stuffed
implements.
toad.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, but Gazalem's right there with it. Yeah, that's
That's where it
awesome.
came from. Right
Oh
here.
man, where'd you get that? It was like an Amazon purchase, or
Yeah,
You
this
just-
is on my Amazon.
oh, okay.
Order
You
of
didn't actually.
Order of Amen. Yeah.
Okay, I was hoping you'd actually like catch a toad and stuff it. So,
Gazalem
Yeah, Amazon's
has
better.
cane toads for sale.
oh, that's right. You have a store, don't you? With all kinds
Yeah,
of.
you could get
That's
from the
right.
store.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So he took all those things, the stuffed toad, and all of his implements of witchcraft, and retired to the mountains near Great Sodus Bay, where he
Sodus.
holds Sodus, Great Sodus Bay, where
These
he
are real
holds.
places, strangely enough.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of archaeological evidence for all of this. When he holds communion with the devil, even to this day.
Yeah.
He has a red phone straight to Satan himself. That's
I should point out
Yeah.
there are no mountains near Sodus Bay.
Some hills.
All right. Final chapter or final verse of chapter 1, chapter 10 or verse 10. Now the rest of the acts of the magician, how his mantle fell upon the prophet Joe Smith June, and how Joe made a
Junior.
league with the spirit. Junior? Smith
Yep, he's
Jr.
Joe
Oh, it's not
Smith
JR.
Jr.
Smith Jr. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me rewind. Now the rest of the acts of the magician, how his mantle fell upon the prophet Joe Smith Jr., and how Joe made a league with the spirit, who afterwards turned out to be an angel, and how he obtained the, quote, gold Bible, spectacles,
Ooh.
and breastplate. Will they
Testicle
not be
cigars.
faithfully recorded in the book of Pukey?
Oh.
That's the teaser.
Now, somebody help me with this. The book of Pukey.
Yeah, Pukey was actually a name of an old trickster spirit, basically.
I was just wondering if it was a Pokemon character.
It probably is.
Kind of.
You know, it might be. There's
Really-
1,000 of them.
Really similar.
All right. So with that, I guess we're going to move on to what is it? We're going to be doing Alma 56 next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Believe so.
Eric, welcome aboard. Love to see you again next week, and we can do a more serious reading.
I
I'm sure
guess I'm
that'll
not
happen.
coming. Fuck that.
What?
I will have this book dealt with reverently.
Are we doing another book
as I
next
have
week, Arn?
demonstrated with my example.
What?
Guess I'm
What's
getting
going
my
on,
Sunday
Aaron?
evening.
What's going on? Wait, is something weird going on next week?
No, you
No,
said-
you're saying that we all have to be serious from now on.
yeah, that's serious reading. Are we going to do another book? I have to
You
make
mean
all
that's
new
scary?
artwork.
Wanted to run away. Like, if we're not being serious, if we're gonna be serious, I'm out of here.
I did serious with this book for 18 years. That's enough.
Exactly, right?
I hear that. I hear that. And it's amazing to me how my mother somehow thought that when I was a child, she would tell me to read this book all the time. And when I read the Bible, and I said, okay, you want me to read the Book of Mormon? I'll take, because I read the Bible and this is what I got out of it. And then she told me not to.
Do you see why now? We're more than halfway through. Do you understand?
Now I'm really curious.
Book.
Arn, now I'm really curious what your channel would have looked like if you had.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm really curious about like what are the statistics of Mormonism? Like how many of their new converts are born-ins versus adults who read this and go, yeah, this makes sense. I'll join this
Wait,
religion.
they have new converts?
Do they?
Yeah,
Or do they-
you
do
have
they
to
just-
go
do they
to
just-
Africa.
Do they just breed
No,
their
they happen
converts?
everywhere.
Or
The highest baptizing mission, I think, is Brazil, outside of the United States.
Brazil.
The highest baptizing in the United States, last I heard, was actually Utah. But
makes sense.
yeah, they do. They get them in, and I mean, nobody's really telling people to read through the whole Book of Mormon. Missionaries are
Not
actually
since Hinckley.
nervous about asking people to do that because then they get asked questions they don't have answers for, and
Yeah.
so they give them a prescribed list of verses to read. But the thing with that is, this is common in all of Christianity. How many Christians have actually read the fucking Bible?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're
Indeed.
looking at maybe 2% at most. Same thing with Mormons at the Book of Mormon. Probably 2% of them have actually read it all the way through. Most of them get lost in the Isaiah chapters in the very beginning, and then they just stop. And so they miss things like all these war crimes in this one and stuff. But so that's the thing you're looking at. What gets people into the church is all the talk about family and families being sealed together forever and all that shit. It's not the Book of Mormon itself. The Book of Mormon is not their best missionary tool. It absolutely is not. What it is the members themselves bringing people in saying, hey, look, this is a family church and we're all about living together forever and being wonderful and blah, blah, blah. And then once you're in, then you find out, oh, as long as you fit into this square hole, then you can have all of that. But if you don't, you don't. And so
Hinckley encouraged the
fascinating.
reading of the Hinckley encouraged the reading of the Book of
He did.
Mormon during his reign, and it kind of went south because it was right during right when the internet was getting really popular and stuff. And I think it put a lot of people into shock because they were like, "Holy shit, this is what
This is
book
what we
talks about."
believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
So a
they
bit
did
different
that.
than what you were raised with, Eric. The going out and telling people you better join or you're gonna burn, you slut.
Slightly
A
different.
little,
Yeah.
quite a bit different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mormons don't talk about burning in hell either. That's also another thing.
Yeah. Witnesses.
Neither
Funny
Jehovah's
thing, I had a
Witnesses.
friend when
It's
I
a
was a
flaming
young
sword,
man.
no hell for
Yeah.
Jehovah's
When I
Witnesses.
Yeah.
was
Witnesses don't
18
believe in
or
hell.
when I was 18 or 19, I had a friend whose family was Jehovah's Witnesses. My family was Mormon. We're both out looking for jobs. We were required to do this job hunt thing. We had to be dressed for the job and required that we
Mhm.
wear these white shirts. And the only vehicles we had were bicycles. So he, a Jehovah's Witness, and me from a Mormon family had to ride together with black pants and white dress shirts on bicycles. I'm like, we are such a sham.
That's like
Yeah.
that's like an episode of a sitcom right there. It's like it
You
writes
just didn't
itself.
have name
Yeah.
tags. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, in fact, somebody was like, "Yeah, Shannon, you're the queen of understatement. It's not the most effective missionary tool. It's not." And how the Book of Mormon gets used is against the members themselves. That's how it gets used, particularly the Book of Alma, is members use it
Whoa.
on each other. And it's like, for me, listening when we're reading through this, I almost feel battered coming out of it because I have 44 years spent using this where I used it on other members, it got used on me, we used it as a battering ram, we used it as whatever. And so that's where the Book of Mormon is effective, is the members.
Yeah.
Not
Gotcha.
non-members.
Yeah.
I would also
I
add,
believe-
I mean, more. I think the best way to look at what utility the Book of Mormon provides for the missionaries is it is a prop, and more
Mhm.
importantly, when you are handing a Book of Mormon to somebody, you are giving a gift to them. That almost creates a sense of obligation. That now, oh, you're
Wow.
giving me something, I now have to like accept this as a gift, and that implicitly creates an obligation to the book, right? It's an obligation to that gift. And most people, when they're handed the Book of Mormon, are not going to read it, and they're never going to read it. They might read the little laundry list of pages or verses that the missionaries tell them to read, but by and large, they're not going to read it. So when they
Right.
start going to church and people start talking about the Book of Mormon, suddenly they feel in debt to the book. They feel in debt to the church, like, oh, in order to get up to speed with all of these other people, I need to read this book. But then most of the times they still don't read it. So then it serves to be one of like the first guilt enforcement mechanisms that is built into prospective members. And when they are investigating this, it then creates that obligation. And then the longer you stay in the church, the more of your efforts are in debt to the church.
Yeah.
Right.
I
It
would
makes
like
me-
to think that my mom actually read the Book of Mormon like she led me to believe, but I really doubt it.
It depends. I probably in the time I was in the church went through 4 different pair up with somebody, and whoever wins reading the entire book does something for the other person, that style of thing. There's lots of shit like that. And Mormons also tend to believe in I mean, you would have noticed if your mom did this, but daily family scripture reading. And usually they really only want you to do it with the Book of Mormon. The Bible's the tool of the apostasy. So that one's like, you can, but you don't have to.
The Book of Mormon matters the most. In fact, when I was in the 80s, this was kind of pushed a lot, is they would say that, if you're going into science as a major in college, you have to make sure you read a half an hour in your Book of Mormon every day so that you keep your mind in track where it belongs while you're studying science. I mean, I heard that at BYU when I went to BYU, and because I mentioned this, I think last week, was the big discussion then was about was the evolution correct or not, and there was huge discussions everywhere. Every time you went into a study group, you all had to decide how you felt about evolution before you could even handle your study group in English or music or whatever the fuck, had nothing to do with any of that. And so, yeah, as long as you read your Book of Mormon a half an hour every day, you'd be okay. There was an apostle, I don't remember which one,
But there's
that's what he did as a scientist, and therefore that's why he kept his testimony, and that's why he became an apostle and all that fucking shit. So yeah.
But there's reading and then there's reading, because my family scripture study reading every single day. My parents read this stuff every day, and it goes in one ear and out the other, because I go, are you guys really actually hearing what this is saying? Because it's like the Yahweh or highway shit, you know? And I'm like, you guys are reading this out loud. Do you hear what it's saying? And they just don't, they don't hear it or contemplate it or anything. It's hypnosis.
Yeah.
That's
Nobody
what
does it
happens
as
when
a
you
study.
read.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you read in the Spirit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like you said, because they don't understand it. They're not going to try to. It's more of, I'm going to get through this chapter as quick as I can. Then I can say I did my reading and I checked the box. That's how they read it.
It is a chore because it is a covenant. It is an obligation that you make to be faithful to the church, that you have a testimony of the Book of Mormon. You are just checking a fucking box when you are reading scriptures as a Mormon. There is no deeper contemplation. And to reinforce that point that I'm making here, it should also be noted that when Hinckley was encouraging people to study the scriptures, he was also discouraging people from doing private scripture study groups. He wanted people to study the Book of Mormon in the church when they are there with the lesson guides and manuals that the Sunday school teachers or teacher, gospel doctrine teacher, whatever, they want them to read within the strict confines of approved of methods. But people getting together and holding private scripture study, so often they think about the Book of Mormon, they talk about the Book of Mormon a lot, and then some really dangerous shit happens. They oftentimes go and read the Doctrine and Covenants, and then they start to read the fundamentals of Mormonism, and they start practicing fundamental Mormonism, and they turn into a fucking like suicide cult of the Laffertys and murder people and do polygamy, right? So that's the biggest problem, is that the Mormon scriptures are fucking fire, and they like the leadership wants people to only read them within very strict confines.
Yes.
I got a couple more comments to read. The Raven 200 offers $5 and says, "Hey, baby, you want to sacrifice some cock?" Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Sounds like a fun night to me.
You're supposed to go to Chick-fil-A for that. Yeah.
Mark A. Smith offers $5 and says, "The only mountain I like is Devil Mountain. That is where I get my coffee from." Awesome. And then for those of you, Amber said he had to scoot because he's hosting Skeptic Haven and got to do some stuff to take care of that. And that was the end of our chats. Eric, hope to see you again next week. Absolutely. Anybody else have any comments to follow up on that?
Yes, we hope to see him next week too.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Tune in next week. See who else Jimmy invites without permission.
Yeah. Well, I'm just interested that we finally have a former member of a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. High demand religion.
Absolutely.
We're all in it together, man.
I was actually earlier tonight, Jimmy. I think Sergio asked me about my cult status in the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I was going to say, they're absolutely a cult because they fit the bite model, which is what I accept to be a cult. So got a little bit
what is
unique
that?
perspective there. Do tell, like the bite model, or
the bite model? Yes. What is
that?
Oh
Absolutely.
my God. Okay, I'm leaving because this is going to take forever.
I will condense it down to about 30 minutes, Jimmy. It'll be about 30 minutes.
You'll be fine without me. Yeah, my head hurts already. But good night.
I got a feeling
the bite model. It's great. You should definitely learn it. Goodbye.
I got a feeling Jimmy's heard that before.
Hi, Jimmy.
Should I though? I'll make it 30 seconds.
Yeah, break it down.
The bite model is a model to identify.
Hold on.
Wow, everyone's just fleeing the stream right now. Yeah, there's like rats from a ship. They're just fleeing the stream.
I like this stuff. It's great.
Okay. So so what is a cult? It's a very fuzzy word, and cults tend to take advantage of that fact to disguise the fact that they're a cult. So anyway, a guy named Stephen Hassan came by. He used to be a Moonie. He was pulled out of it by his family and deprogrammed, and he realized, hey, I was in a cult one day. So he concretely defined what a high control group is, and he used something called the BITE model. You can find it in a book called Combating Cult Mind Control, which I think I have up my shelf, but it's too far away for me to reach. In it, he defines something called the BITE model, B-I-T-E. It stands for behavior, information, thought, and emotions. If you have a group that's controlling all four of those aspects of your life, controlling your behavior, your thoughts, your emotions, and your information you take in, you are likely in a high control group, aka a cult. The Jehovah's Witnesses fit this to a T. And yeah, it's
So do Mormons.
they are occults. Yeah, Mormons. If they're trying to control what information you take in, how you behave, what you think, and how you should feel. Yeah, cults. Red
More
flags.
so
cults.
now than ever, really.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fascinating topic. I want to look into
Well, I
it
mean,
more.
Rusty's.
If there's not already videos on it, I'd like to make a video on it after researching it, of course.
Yeah, there's
that-
lots of videos on it. I plan to make videos, and we can always use more because like the witnesses on their official website, they actually have an article addressing whether or not they're occults, which if you have to have an article addressing whether you're a cult, that's kind of a yellow flag. But the funny thing is that in their first
It's
paragraph,
kind of like, I am not a crook.
I am not a crook. I am not a crook by certain definitions of crook. So like the witnesses have an article on that saying, are we a cult? Well, cult are really fuzzy term and lots of people use it for different things. And then they proceed to not formulate a definition for it and to explain why they're not part of that definition. They just simply muddy the waters and they swim around in it and try to hide the fact that they actually fit a colloquial definition of cult, but they don't want to admit that. So yeah, I'm planning on making some videos on it. And yeah, absolutely. Aaron, if you haven't read the book yet, it's Stephen Hassan, Combating Cult Mind Control. It's a good book.
Aaron, I think you'd be interested in the Hare Krishna, like the parallels with that movement and stuff too.
I've already read so much. I've already read so much Krishna crap. I mean,
yeah, because you know so much.
When I was 16, I read The Science of Self-Realization by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I was on the verge of being Bhakti. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Of course, it was in the 1970s, and I was in the Los Angeles area. So there's that.
It's big in Utah because in Utah County down in Spanish Fork has a Hare Krishna temple, and it's really the only getaway for Mormons to be able to do something alternative. And they have free vegetarian food, you know. So a lot of and BYU encourages a lot of their students to go down there and stuff. In fact, the church financed the finishing of their temple during the Olympics because, yeah, they helped finance.
Eric, good to meet you.
Pleasure.
Everybody else, thank you so much. Hope to see Eric. I hope to see you again next week. Bryce, as always, thank you so much. What is it, Peter?
I have a question. You didn't finish your joke.
What joke?
Well, you talked about you and your friend going out to get a job, and you had to wear a white shirt, black pants. In the Netherlands, that's designated clothes.
Well, yeah, it was implied.
Well, that's designated clothes for a waiter. So it basically started out with a Mormon and a Jehovah's Witness walk into a bar, and we never heard the end.
I'm sorry. We were both on bicycles. We were both dressed the way in 1981. This is the way Jehovah's Witnesses looked. This is the way Mormons look. Both he and I were. This is weird. We were both atheists, but not entirely aware of that.
We should have had video back then.
We both knew that we didn't believe what our families believed. So all we were missing was the name tag, essentially. Yeah.
You should.
And the stupid ass haircut, because I still had a 1982 haircut from Metal Age.
Oh, nice.
I can probably guarantee you that if him as a witness, if his elders caught wind that he was bike riding in white shirts and black slacks with a Mormon through town, he would have had a talking to.
All right. So we're done for today. Thank you all. Thank you for everybody that participated. Thank you for everybody watching. We will, and we're going to be doing. What's the next chapter? It's 56, right? Alma 56.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Alma 56 next week. Thank you so much.
Bye, folks.